Millionaires are made, where we believe you can grow and be a millionaire in all 6 aspects of health. We share tips on all of our episodes to improve your physical, mental, social, spiritual, intellectual, and your financial health, which is today's topic. We're focusing on your financial health and specifically banking. How can banking help improve my financial health? If you've never seen Millionaires Are Made, this is the show built on the fundamental belief that every person you meet knows something you don't, and there's something to be learned from everyone in this big, beautiful world. In the spirit of authenticity, we don't talk about tips or advice before the show starts. When we're in the green room, we just talk about the show schedule, and that's about it. So every tip and every answer to these questions that you hear is going to come directly from our guests. We have 3 awesome guests that are going to share some advice on how to improve your financial health with banking. Audience, we love you. This is an engagement show. Please comment, ask questions. We do take your questions and ask them live. So if you're curious about anything about banking and financial health, shoot them in any of the comments. We monitor all of it and we'll ask it live to our audience members. And if you, well, I know you do, but if you have a piece of advice that you want to share or any sort of expertise, please come be a guest. We love having anyone and everyone share their knowledge. That link is below, www.millionairesaremade.com. And if you're going through a little something right now, maybe you're lost spiritually, maybe you're a little broke, maybe you don't like your friend group and your social health is weak, whatever it is, shoot us a topic. We will go out and find 3 guests that have expert advice on that topic to help you get through your little hump in life and shine and grow as you should. Audience, if you like what we do, please help us keep growing. Subscribe, share, like, comment, send stars, whatever else, wherever you're watching us. Engaging helps us a lot. Definitely appreciate that a lot. And if you do want to have a little more one-on-one, I offer free coaching. I know most of our guests offer coaching as well. Link for my free coaching is being dropped right now. Would love to talk to you one-on-one and see if we can get you on a little path for some major growth. And without further ado, we are going to move into our show. I have been asked to start sharing my tips. I like to have the guests do theirs. So I might share mine at the very end, actually, in the round robin, so as not to have any sort of bias and keep it as authentic as possible. So first out, we're going to bring out Sarah Lee, who is coming out right now. Sarah, tell me who you are.
Hello, Austin. Thank you for having me on the show. I am Sarah Lee, like Financial Cake with Sarah Lee. Everyone always makes that joke. I'm an author and a coach and a business owner.
Author, coach, business owner, amazing. Do you have any advice for me? If I wanted to improve my financial health with banking, what piece of advice would you give me?
Well, first of all, I would say understand how the banks make money, how they make money from your money.
Mm-hmm.
That's the first thing I would say. So, how
Tell
what I
us.
would yes, what I would say about that is banks make money from something called fractional lending, which basically means they can lend out roughly 10 times the the amount of money, at least in the United States, that you deposit, and they use that money to make money, and then they don't pay you any interest. So, understanding that you can become your own bank is a good thing to start.
Ooh, how can you be your own bank?
We talked about this another time. You can become your own bank by investing your money and learning to borrow money from yourself. And that's always a good thing to do, right? We've talked about this.
Awesome. Where on your life journey did you learn this advice? Let's talk a little bit more about your background there, Sarah.
Yeah, I've been a financial advisor for 22 years. And so I learned this through the process of selling products. When I started working with clients, I took the exact direction that my managers said, hey, you should do this and you should do that. And as I got more experienced, I ended up owning a firm and kind of being able to be more free in how I would teach because I learned how things actually worked. And it wasn't really exactly how they teach you to sell things, if that makes sense. And so I became a financial educator.
I'm actually in the middle, almost done with a great book. Um, called "How Money Became Dangerous." Super
Oh,
fascinating about late '90s, early 2000s, and just the change of Wall Street and the practices that used to be used. Goes on and talks. The author is, I think, Christopher Varelas, if I recall. Um, Super good book though. It's really interesting to watch. How he tries to keep his morals as he's going into like the Solomon Brothers and being a stockbroker and becoming M&A, mergers and acquisitions, and going through and watching his higher ups and other people and going, I don't know if I really agree with that. And then 5 years later, there's a new law against it. But I want to go more into what you were talking about. Tell me more about how banks make money. Let's
yes.
understand that.
So banks make money primarily through lending. They're lending institutions. And so people think that a bank is there to teach you about money. They're not. In the United States, they exempted themselves from fiduciary law in 1946. So they don't even have to tell you how anything actually works by law. They're not there to educate you. They're there to sell you something. And what they sell is lending. So most people are confused about that and they think that the bank is doing something else. And the bank is there to lend you money. And because that's how they make money. So it primarily is credit cards, right? Mortgages, business loans, your HELOC, those kinds of things. But that's how banks work. Banks are there to lend you money. And they lend money that they actually do not have in the bank, ironically.
Ironically,
Yes.
lending air to make money. How did we get to this point? Well, we just shared the book right there. So if you're interested, you want to
And
talk
that
more.
book sounds fascinating. I'm going to read that.
Yeah, it's really good. It's well. He must have done a lot of research because there's, I mean, like interviews from 20 years ago with him and VPs and this. So he must have got quite a few people in on it. But it's a really well done book, and the historical dates and events are very accurate, which is kind of cool to see his take on that. Um, all right, so banks take money they don't have, they lend it to businesses, homeowners, car loans, credit cards, and they let you use the money that they never had, and then they charge you for it.
Yes. So think about the math of this, by the way. If they can lend out 10 times what the deposits are, and let's say it's $1 million a deposit, and let's say they're charging 22% interest, which a lot of people I know got a notice recently that said their interest rate went to like 30%. I didn't get that notice, but a lot of people I know did. And let's call it that. So they make $300,000 on our $100,000 deposit. Isn't that insane?
It's a
Like if
bit
people
insane.
knew that, wouldn't they be a little more cautious about where they banked and banking itself as opposed to understanding how their money works and then handling it properly? I can't tell you what to do, right? But I'm saying there's smarter ways to do things and less intelligent ways to do things.
And then a lot of the bigger banks, if you, I mean, especially with this book, that's why I'm in on this. But if you go into like the bigger banks and crazier, more niche tools, they have agreements with like the Treasury and the government essentially, where they're the only ones that can really buy mass quantities of instruments. I guess is the word I will use, like bonds. They buy them and by the millions or billions, and then they're able to resell them as well, even to other banks, depending
Yes,
on.
well, banks have something called an overnight rate also, so they do lend to other banks and other institutions. And that is another way that they make money, but it's all lending based. And to your point, yes, money isn't money anymore. Money is ones and zeros in the universe, right? It's not, money isn't real to them and it's not real in general, which is also a confusing topic for people. But we'll talk about that maybe in a different show.
Awesome. All right, Sarah, we're going to move on to our next guest. Thank you so much.
Thank-
Next up, we have Aoife. Hey, Aoife, tell us, who are you?
Hello. I'm Aoife Gaffney. I'm Irish. I live in Ireland. I'm an author and semi retired financial advisor and certified money coach.
And a certified what coach?
Certified money coach.
Ah, very cool, very cool. All right, Aoife, if I wanted to improve my financial health with banking, what piece of advice would you have for me?
Simplest thing to do is not pay bank fees. So, as Sarah said, banks make money from our money. So, if you think of money as being a product, you are selling a product. You don't go into a shop and say, I want to put this product on your shelves. Will you sell it for me, please? And they would not turn around and charge you for that. So, they would sell it for you and then give you a percentage of their profit. So if you think of money as being a product and banks are like a shop, it it doesn't make any logical sense to pay them for the privilege of selling the product that you have created for free. So if you're earning money through the through your job rather than through entrepreneurship. So you're taxed, certainly in Ireland anyway, you're taxed at source. So that's you earn your money and then so the tax office take money away from you before you get it. Then you put it into the bank and then the bank charge you for depositing your money or moving it around or doing anything with it. And then if you do earn interest on your money in the bank, you will be charged a tax on that interest. So you can earn money, and three times somebody will take some of that money away from you. So the less money you have to somebody else and not get anything in return, the more you get to keep in your own pocket. So it's really just about being aware of how money works and think of it like a product. So you own or have manufactured this product. Who are you going to sell it to?
So tell me what tell me what kind of bank fees you should expect and what fees are giant red flags when choosing a bank.
So it's different from country to country, but I
Okay.
haven't paid bank charges in 30 years and I have no intention of starting today. So it is worth, again, depending within Europe, there are some really good options. So Revolut is an option within Europe. N26 are a German bank within Europe. They are totally free. There probably are other options. I know in the UK there is Starling. As to what's available in for the American dollar, I'm actually not quite sure, but sometimes like a 2 minute Google search or Wise. Actually, I think you can use Wise.
Wise and
Um,
Revolut.
and Revolut, yeah, I'm not sure if Revolut was available outside of Europe or not, but certainly Wise, Revolut N26 is euro only, and sterling is for sterling. But I mean, there is an option. There are options out there. It's just like a 2 second Google search. So I don't pay bank fees at all. Um, but just think, buy low, sell high. That, and again, that's just a very simple rule of economics. So you want to borrow your money at the lowest possible rate, and your borrowings should be below the amount of money that you are earning on whether it's an investment, a deposit, or wherever you put it. Um, but your money should be earning more than you are paying on your borrow.
Awesome. Well, that's great. Yeah, so definitely a big thing to think about is fees. I love how you put that as you're the manufacturer of the product. You should not be getting charged to sell your product. And many banks do like to do that. Effa, thank you so much. We're going to move on to our next guest. And next up, we have Sarah, round two. Sarah, who are you?
Yeah, hey, hello everyone. My name is Sarah Jones. I have been debt free twice. Now I am a full time RVer traveling around the United States, going on our third year of traveling. And I am a money coach and I work with people who know they make good money, but they just kind of feel like they don't have anything to show for it. So, what I love doing is increasing financial literacy, helping people become more confident in their money so we can change their mindset, change their strategies so they're actually able to reach their financial goals quicker than ever before.
All right. Well, it sounds like you might have some interesting information for me. If I wanted to improve my financial health with banking, what piece of advice would you give me?
Yeah, I think my piece of advice is really using and understanding that banking is a tool for your finances.
Banking is a tool for finances. All right, explain that for me.
Yeah, so I think that much of the time, I certainly grew up thinking and being told that we had to use banks, and this is the bank that you use, and you just kind of take for granted. You don't ask questions, right? And I think what I've learned and what I try and teach other people is that I want you to go in and interview the banks. I want you to do your research. I want you to know what it is that you're looking for and how the bank, how their offers can actually benefit you so you are able to be reaching your goals. I think so much of the time we just take what they tell us as the end all be all, and the truth is we can ask questions. We can say, no, that doesn't work for me. We can negotiate. We can interview other banks. So really utilizing what it is that you're looking for and then going out and finding it in those different banking institutions.
I love it. I love it. All right. Well, you told us a little bit about this, but where on your life journey did you learn this information?
Yeah, I don't think there was like a defining point, but when we were on our second debt-free journey, I really started to take a look at like how can we be improving here? It's not just about becoming debt-free, but it's really about becoming really confident with our money and using it so our money is actually working for us. And I really started to take notice of, interest rates that we were charging and different offers. And I'm like, wait a minute, if I'm going to put my money in a bank, right, then I want it to be working for me. And so I started
Yes.
doing this research, and I really started looking at, what are the programs? What are different offers that banks have? There's differences between credit unions versus online banks versus community banks, right? Versus the big conglomerates, right? And so really just researching and seeing what each offers and how that can benefit me. And by doing that, it really opened my eyes to how I could be using my money to work for me, but utilizing banks as that tool, that vessel to make that happen.
All right. We've got a little question from an audience. We'll see if we can answer that for them. I'm unclear as to why they would offer me a bank service at no cost. Could you please clarify, guys? Do you want to take this, Sarah?
Sure. So I think that there's always a cost involved. You might not, they might pose it as no cost. But in my experience, there are services, and I work with a lot of solopreneurs and small business owners that think that they have to have these business accounts and they just assume that there's going to be fees involved with their business accounts. And I encourage them to look for banks that offer business accounts with no fees. That is available. It is possible.
Yep.
Ultimately, as the other guest said as well, banks are there to make money. And so they're going to try then to sell you other services. They're going to try and push you into other options. So just because they're offering one service at no cost doesn't mean they're not going to try and sell you another service where they're going to make their money back.
Right. Awesome. All right, Sarah, we're going to put you backstage and we'll bring everyone out for the round robin. I'll take a minute right here real quick to talk about my tip for banking. So banking, this is interesting. I have an interesting relationship. If you're plan on banking, I would say the first thing is find the right bank for you. There's going to be different banks that specialize in different things, just like almost every company. I know when I was younger, I always just thought they were all pretty much the same. You go, you put your money in, you get a free student checking account, something like that. But you'll start to learn different banks specialize in different things, whether they specialize in mortgages or high yield savings accounts, something like that. I would say do not use a bank as an investment tool unless you are really bad at spending money. It's a way to put money away and make sure you save it rather than spend it. But the rates that they give you, like we've almost every guest has already talked about, is not the best. If you're looking to invest money, there's way better investment places. The biggest thing is having a relationship, though, because at some point you may need to take money out, whether it's for a business or a car or a mortgage, and having someone that knows you and your finances can make things a lot smoother and simpler. Shutter, this is a shout out to you real quick. I'm unclear as to why they would offer me a bank service at no cost. Let's just say it's similar to like a restaurant. You go to the restaurant, they want you to order a meal, spend money, get some dessert, the water's going to be free. They don't, at least in the US. Sorry, Europeans. In the U.S., the water is free, and they give you that so that you enjoy your meal more. You go at this, you tip higher, you spend more, etc., etc. Almost like at a bar, if they have like nuts or pretzels on the bar that are free, those are just to make you drink more beer. So if a bank is giving you services at no cost, that's almost there just to keep you as a client. If you're depositing high, so that they can re-lend that back out. Just like our previous, all three of our guests talked about, banks borrow money low and they try to sell out high, and they do it by the millions and billions, and that's how they make crap loads of money. All right, let's bring everyone out and talking a little round robin here. Hey Sarah, hey Aoife, hey Sarah again. All right, guys, let's real quick. Sarah Lee, can you quickly refresh what your tip was for us?
My well, I would say this. My new tip, just as a heads up, to also just to keep adding to this, is budget. If you're going to put money in the bank, don't pay those fees, because a lot of people, one of the reasons that there's free banking is because they know people don't know, they're not financially literate. They don't know how to budget or have a spending plan. And so a lot of times they know they're going to catch you on fees, right? And if they don't catch you on fees, they're going to catch you in loans. So that's my tip, is budget.
Aoife, what are your thoughts on her tip?
Absolutely. Make a spending plan. So make a plan and spend the plan. Definitely. And so many people, their spending is based on what is in the bank or what is on the card, rather than it is in that envelope, jam jar, category, whatever you want to call it. So absolutely make a spending plan. And it's flat because it's yours. But do spend your plan, not your bank balance.
Yeah, I like that. And Sarah Jones, what are your thoughts on her new tip?
Threw me for a loop there with a new one, but no, I love it, because I think that that's what provides the roadmap going forward for everyone, right? Having that plan, having it laid out, knowing what it is that you need to do next, it allows you to go into the banks and use them as wisely as possible, right? And so having that clarity for yourself, you then are able to use the banks to best benefit you and not pay those fees.
All right, we've got our first question from the audience. We have two right now. We'll do one. So this is going to be, how can I avoid late fees on my credit card or loan payments? Do I need to change my bank? Let's talk about late fees.
Who wants to go first? We can't have dead air, you.
I would just say, yeah, automate everything. So as much as possible, put things on automate as much as possible, and then do a daily check-in with money. So money is a friend. You don't ignore your friend and then say really mean things about them behind their back. So 30 seconds, 10 seconds, 11 seconds is better than 10. Do a daily check-in. So in the morning when you're having your coffee, check your credit card, check your checking account or current account, whatever you call it. Take 2 minutes, 3 minutes to just, okay, am I on track? And then just write in your diary a few days before a bill or a payment is due, and make sure that the amount of money is actually in the bank, so when the automated payment comes out. So all of my payments are automated because I'm too forgetful and genuinely would forget to pay things. Everything's automatic, happens by magic, and then no late fees.
I love what you just said there. Is money is your friend, and have a better relationship with it. And I think that's something that is slowly changing. But as kids, we're built like not to talk about money. You don't ask people how much they make. You don't ask them this or that. Which I like that you brought that up. I mean, money. You should be looking at your money. I mean, daily, like you said, if not daily, at least weekly, and checking in on your bank account, checking in on your credit cards, making sure that everything's going smooth. And while these are big corporations, maybe you don't want them anymore and you have to quit your cancel your credit card or something of that sort. But I do like that you said that. That's a huge point. Is be a better friend with your money than you probably are right now. You guys ready for another question?
We're ready. I can I make one little comment about this?
Yes, of course.
Is that if you have a plan for your money, One of the things that isn't really taught in schools anymore, but it's something that we focus on with, like, we have classes for little kids, is we teach a type of accounting that they used to teach in school. And the issue is when you have your budget for the year or your spending plan for the year, if you have a future debt and you have money that comes in, you don't have that money really because you have a future debt. So becoming more financially literate is one of my other thoughts on this, is how do you avoid it? By actually learning how to do your spending plan properly and stick to it. Just as a heads up, that's what I think about her tip. Yes.
All right, next question. Recently, I'm struggling with overdraft. What is an overdraft and how do I avoid it?
Well, I'll jump in here and say that overdraft is a fee that you are charged by spending more money that you had in your account. So you've spent more than your balance. And so I work with a lot of people that actually struggle with overdraft fees, and a lot of times it actually happens because automation. They've got payments set for automatic payment, right? So they've automated, but yet they didn't have the money in the account to cover those expenses first. And so I like to say and teach people that it's all cyclical, that creating your money plan and knowing when your money is coming in gives you the information you need then to know when you're going to pay your expenses, right? And so having the plan in place, knowing when you've got money coming in and then when you're going to pay those expenses, because I think sometimes we forget we have a lot of choices when it comes to when we're paying our bills, right? And when we're paying our expenses. Just because something is due on the 20th doesn't mean you have to pay it on the 20th. You can pay it on the 10th, right? And so understanding when your money is coming in gives you the ability to make the choices on when you're paying those expenses. And so that's how you avoid it, is by having a good plan in place and really looking at how your money flows through your account.
Awesome. Very well said. Very well said. All right, we have a comment. I believe people need to educate themselves about financial matters. We often receive money and spend it without fully understanding how to manage it properly. Do you guys all think that everyone in this world should have a bank account?
That's a tricky question because I can't say everyone should do anything, first of all. And second of all, there's cultures that use barter systems, then they don't need bank accounts because they trade. And so I think I don't want to get into fiat currency and all those fun things right now, but we could get into that. But I think bartering's okay. So I don't know. What do you guys think?
Yeah. And the banks to your every move. Use the bank as a cash and send the cash.
Uh-oh.
All right, we have one last question before we go to our challenge. How can I learn about financial literacy? What are your recommendations?
Well, I think you've got four awesome people as guests on this show right now. So I would say number one, and I say this is free, but really utilizing, your social media, follow us and take our tips, right? Get on our pages and start then taking action with the tips and the information that we share. I think a lot of times people get stopped because it can feel overwhelming. So find people that you resonate with, find people that you feel like, wow, they actually feel like I could learn something from them. They're not blowing it up. They feel trustworthy. And so go on and then just start listening to what it is that those couple of people are saying and then take action with it. You need to have skin in the game here, guys, right? And so free action or, free information is widely available, but it really comes down to you taking action on that. And then you can look at other ways. I mean, there's a gazillion, there's podcasts and books. And then you can move into programs and one-on-one coaching. And there's a lot of those programs available to help you build your financial literacy.
Yeah, I think the first step would be to follow all three guests on this episode and mark them as favorite on Facebook. That'd be a great way to start learning. And then, like you said, see which one you resonate with more, who has stuff that makes sense clearly to you, and then start messaging and engaging with them and learning that way. Obviously, you can definitely hire people. You can read a lot of books, but if you're looking for the simplest way to start learning about financial literacy, we've got Sarah, and Aoife down here. Real easy to follow them and hit favorites. All right, guys, we got to wrap this show up. We're on to our last bit. We need to come up with a daily challenge. This must take less than 5 minutes a day, cost $0, and be available to anyone in the world from Australia to Sweden. What are your thoughts? How do we spend every day to improve our financial health with banking?
Can I go first?
Of course.
Okay. My tip for this is use an app. There's a free app on the App Store called Spending Tracker. I recommend that one all the time. I don't own it. I'm not affiliated with it, but I like that one. And actually use that every day. That is free. I believe it's available to most people. Another app is Money Mentor, which I do own, just as a heads up, which has free content to change your mindset and your habits about money, and then to educate yourself. That is also half free, just so you know. We have about 20 lessons that are free, and then it's about $4 a month. So I would say get in a habit of doing something like that and making it fun for yourself.
So it has lessons that tell you exactly what to do?
Yeah, it has lessons, what the words mean, what the words of money mean, how some of these concepts work, banking works, and there's cartoons and games in addition to the content. So it is it's for adults, but it's also something that young people can use. And
it's called Money Mentor?
Yes, Money Mentor. It's a black and gold symbol, and a spending tracker. Spending Tracker is another app which I don't affiliate with, but I do recommend to people, which is a free budgeting app that I believe is a safe app to use.
Cool. All right, Sarah Jones, Aoife, any ideas on what we should do for a 5-minute daily challenge?
Yeah, I'll just jump in and
Yep.
say that go to your bank and look at what options they have and know your numbers with them, right? Are you paying interest? Are you paying fees? Do they have the options that you are really looking for to help your money work for you? And if they don't, start interviewing and start looking at other banking institutions, right? Online, local, community, credit unions, look at them all and really start doing your research to find one that's, and maybe it's a couple, right, that really suit your needs and what it is that you need that actually benefits you and helps you reach your goals.
What about looking at old bank statements? Think that we could go try to find, maybe look at last week's bank statement and see if there's any hidden fees of some sort or credit card statement?
That's always a good one. And actually, when you do your spending plan, most people will recommend that you take the average of your last 3 months or 6 months and figure out how you spend your money. Because most of the time you'll self-correct once you realize you wasted $400 on coffee and ate, this much money and eating out and stuff. Most people will self-correct actually after that. You don't need someone usually to tell you that, in my experience. But you need to get aware of how you're spending your money and aware of where your money goes, 100%.
Yeah, I think I like what Aoife said too, with the being friends with money. I think that having a daily challenge where we at least, I would say, I like logging into either a bank or credit card. All of us have at least like 3 or 4 accounts, so that's 3 or 4 days, and I guess just checking or just developing the relationship. If every day for the next week we're a little more friendly to our bank statements or credit card statements, checking on fees or interest or anything else, what should be the purpose of it? So, daily challenge: log into a bank account and I guess just look at it.
Sort it out. Start working on your spending plan. Yeah. Start understanding where your money's going. Wouldn't you agree,
Yeah.
Eva?
Okay.
I like to have a little, I don't know if you can see that against the virtual background. So I have an anchor. It looks like a blob, but it's this little jade. It's a green jade frog. I bought it for 50 cents in a charity shop. So have something, an anchor that reminds you of abundance and wealth and money, or whatever symbol, whatever words you want to use. So it could be a really nice key ring. It could be a nice stone. It could be a jade frog. It could be in anything, but I have lots of little anchors all over the house, but they're little post-its and things that cost nothing, but they remind me that I am in charge of my money. So it's little symbols, and I paint stones in gold paint, and I pick up nice stones from the beach, or put post-its and things all over the house. And on my mirror, I have, this is what a wealthy woman looks like. So every time I look in the mirror, I go, well, absolutely, you are indeed a very wealthy woman. So all these things cost nothing. And much to the amusement of anybody who comes into the house, but I don't care. I don't care, because these are my symbols, and to remind me that I am truly a wealthy and abundant person. And, those terms mean different things to different people.
All right, I love that. So let's log into our bank account, check one of our past week's transactions, and it's very rudimentary. Look for fees, look for charges, look for 75 coffee charges that you may not need. Whatever it is, let's just get looking at it. And then I love what Aoife just said. Remind yourself 5 times that you are in charge of your money. So force ourselves to go look at our bank account, examine it, see if there's any glaring red flags, learn how to look at a statement if you haven't looked at your bank anytime recently, and then remind yourself that you're in charge of it. And I think that sounds like a great daily challenge, right?
Absolutely.
Awesome. Well, thank you guys so much. I'm going to put you all backstage and wrap it up. What a great episode that was. Dang, I hope you guys learned a lot about banking. Thank you again so much for watching Millionaires Are Made. Ooh, that was a good show. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. We've got 4 awesome sponsors to go over. First off, we have Sarah Jones herself, helps people master personal and business finances to build stable foundations. Definitely go check her out. She lives in an RV full-time with her husband, does podcasts, and teaches people how to be financially savvy. What an awesome, cool life she has built for herself. So go check her out. Next up, we have Craig Satofsky. Craig is amazing. He's a human behaviorist and mentor, helps entrepreneurs discover their true identity, purpose, and achieve growth in business and life. Craig Satofsky, please check him out.com. And we also have Jen Gray, who's host of Be Genuine with Jen podcast. She helps small businesses thrive as the agent with benefits. Connect with her today. And last but not least, we have Josh Perry, who is also a co-host on the show. Resilient leader, inspiring others to overcome challenges with determination, and he guides them to reach their full potential. He's also on my board of directors. Super awesome guy. Go check him out. Hopefully you guys had an awesome time.